So again, welcome back. So let's continue with our work. So we already have constructed our HTML, and now is what we need to do is apply CSS to make it look uh, what we have here in our wireframe. All right. So the first thing that we need to do is to apply a CSS reset. Oops. All right. So CSS reset. So what it does is to we need to set the spaces or the box model of an element so that we know that in each browser it will load our CSS preset instead of its browser default value. So remember the wildcard. So our wildcard or all selector, uh, we will set the margin on all elements to 0, padding, and border. These will explicitly tell the browser that we need all elements to have their margin, padding, and border removed, so that we make sure that no other spaces that are added to these properties, so that at least we expect that we can properly measure our elements box model. So with this, oh, by the way, I already added the style file, which is style.css, using our link element. Since it is added on the same directory, such as this one, so this is the HTML file, wireframe, and the style.css. They are on the same directory, so there's no need for you to specify a subfolder. And let's try to see what it does. So normally this is our HTML page without the CSS reset, but if we refresh this, then it will look like this. As you can see, no margin, no padding to each element, so that we know that there is no extra spaces if we lay out our site. Alright, so next is we need to set our heading. So this one. Oh, before that, we need to set our wrapper first. So a wrapper is basically a main element where we add all of our required or specified elements. Although we already have the body, but it's better to have a separate wrapper for all of our elements. So what I think here is we need to have or rather center our layout here. So for us to center it, we will add for our wrapper, we will add a property. So let's give it a width of, let's say, 80%. So these 80% will be taken from the browser width. Browsers width. So it will not take the screen size. It will basically use the width of your browser. If your browser has this size, let's say like this, then that's the whole width of your page. But in our case, we declared that the wrapper element will have the 80% of the browser's width. So meaning if we have this width, then most likely our wrapper will have a width somewhere here, from here to here. Okay, so if we, so let's try to see the width of the wrapper. So let's have a test and add a border so that we'll have a visual representation of the width. Refresh this, then you'll see that the 80% a width of it 80% is somehow from here to here. If I'm going to adjust the width, then you'll notice that uh, oops, the width of the wrapper also changes. That is, we set it to 80%. Right. Now that we set the width of our wrapper, we want this wrapper to be centered. To do that, we will add a margin, and the upper and the top and bottom side will have a zero margin, while the left and right is auto. So auto means whatever spaces that remains on the screen will be divided into the two sides. So if you remember, if we are going to set the value for the margin, I mean if we're going to give two value for our margin, that means that the first value is for the top and bottom, and the second value is for the left and right. So we have here 80%. The wrapper has the 80% of the browser's width. So that means the 20% will belong to the margin. So if we're going to refresh this, it as you can see, it is now centered. That is because the remaining width was assigned to the left and right side of the wrapper element. If we're going to use the developer tools and hover on the wrapper, you'll see that the orange area is the margin. Okay, so that's why it was centered, because we have auto assign the remaining space from our browser. Okay, so we're just gonna leave the border for now, so that at least uh, we'll have a better insight on how the wrapper uh, where the wrapper is right now. Okay, the next is our heading. So as you can see here, our heading has two subsection, the logo and then the title. So as for the logo, we'll need to assign an image for that. I already copied an image and added it in the images folder, is the logo.jpg. So I'm going to assign it. So our logo.jpg is found under the images folder, and under that we have the uh, name of the file. Just save that and let's refresh it. Okay, so it's very big, so we'll just adjust the width of the logo. So let's say 100 pixels. Okay, okay, looks fine. The next is our site title. So the site title is a bit has the same height uh, with our logo. So let's assign that with okay. So our site title, let's give it a also, as you can see, we have here the another child element of site title is h1. So we're going to specify that the uh, font size of this text is under the h1. So we will add a new selector like this. So this selector is what we call the descendant combinator here. So descendant combinator, basically we specify the child of a certain element like this. So we have here the parent, space, and then the child. So in our example here, let's say an element with a class parent and with a child of h1, then we can specify its property. So meaning all h1 child of the element with the class parent will have this property. Also, like all of the h1 child of the body element will have this property, something like that. So that's what the descendant combinator do. So for more selectors and examples, you could visit WP Schools for your reference, and you'll see that there's a lot of selectors that you can use maybe later on. No? Alright, so let's set that only the H1 child of site title will have this property. So the property that we're going to use is font size, say 80 pixels. Okay, so refresh. Okay, so it doesn't look quite big yet. Let's say 90 and refresh. Okay, I think this will be enough. And in our wireframe, we see that the INC has the underscore. So same with what we did here. Let's going to add here. Uh, so same as what we did in our site title here. We specified the child and then the parent. So all of uh, the the child of the h1, which is span, will have this property. Okay, so we're going to add a property which is text decoration, and one of those values are line through, underline, none. So meaning there's no so far these subsections are a bit centered in the document. So let's try. Okay, I think I forgot the property. I think it's justify content. Let me double check that. Okay, justify, yes, justify content center. Okay, there you go. So using this property, we basically um, centered our element. The other value for the justify content is okay. So we have here justify content. So basically, what will it do is to automatically calculate the spaces between the elements and center its content. So one of those property is center. Okay, so I'm just gonna copy this image so that it will be very easy for you to visualize what will it do. Okay, strange. Um, so I think I don't have a choice but to save the image. Okay, like this. Okay, okay, great now. Okay, I think we have a better visualization of the property. There you go. So what we did earlier is we used the center value, which obviously will center our element. So you can try to experiment or try it on yourself on your HTML document. You can use flex start, which obviously will, as you can see, it will align your elements from left to the left, and flex end is to the right, to the farthest right, and the rest is, as you can see, it will or visually, as you can see, it does like space between. There's a bit of space in between the element. Space around, there is space on both sides of the element, and space evenly is to divide all of the space and assign it evenly to all elements, right? So I think I am we are or I am contented, or I'm good with the result right now. So I'm just gonna use the center for the justify content. So take note, you can't do this without setting the display into flex. So if I'm going to remove the display flex, then the justify content will be ignored and will not be used. So make sure, if we're going to use justify content, the flex value for the display property is all right. So we're good with the heading, I think. So let's proceed with the navigation. All right, so for the nav, we have here nav. So as you can see, I did not use any class or any attribute, so it's a plain element. So I'm just gonna use nav. So for our nav, so we don't do much. So we are more focused on the links. So I guess we're going to use the combinator, the descendant combinator, and we're gonna set that the child of the nav will do something with the child. So if we're going to take a look at our links here or in the nav, it has these circles or bullets. So you might want to remove that. So we're going to use the property called list style, which is none. So it will basically remove these bullets. There you go. And since we have uh, in our wireframe, all the links are aligning together. So obviously, we're going to set the display to flex and refresh that. There you go. But again, in our design, uh, the uh, the the links are centered, and they look like they're evenly spaced. So we're going to use the justify content, then space evenly. So let's check that, and there you have it. It although it might in our design, since in our design, um, as you can see, there's a little bit gap in between. But I think I'm good with the design like this. So it doesn't need to be a huge text here, or maybe we can adjust that. So let's say the nav ULLIA. So I did this so that we are going to specify the child A. Because if we're going to use only the element selector, then it will affect all of the elements in our document. But with this, with the descendant combinator, we can only specify certain groups or certain family in our HTML document. So let's try to does it have an underline? Oh yes, it does. So what we're going to do is to maybe increase the font size. So font size, let's say 15 pixels. Oh no, 25. And there's a bit of spaces in between uh, the heading and then the hero. So maybe we're going to need to add a padding on each links. Let's say 10 pixels. Let's try that. Okay. 20. Oh, but still, the spaces doesn't have it doesn't it doesn't apply on the there is no gap or a space in between each of the sections. So with that, we're going to have the nav. So the nav element here, it's add a margin only on the top and bottom. So margin. So top and bottom will have a 15 pixels, while the left and right will have a 0 pixels. Okay, there you go. Alright, there's a space in between each of the sections, so that's good, that's fine. Alright, the next is, I think we're good here. We the navigation is the next is the hero. So what we have here is there is a huge banner here. So in our hero there is a banner. Um, so let's try to search for an image. I think I have some wallpapers here. And some old files. Alright. Okay, so for now we don't need to I mean we don't need to have the banner relevant to our website. So just gonna pick some image here and we're going to use it in our HTML document. Alright, I think okay, this looks cute. So I'm gonna copy this and add it in our desktop. Images, paste it and rename it as banner. Alright. So far for our hero we don't need to specify any properties, but for the banner, so let's use again the descendant combinator. So that banner I'm sorry, so that hero then banner, we're going to set the background for that element. So background, and the background has several values that you can specify, same as in our margin and padding. We can assign some values, one or more. So that's the same with the background. All right, so for our URL, so that's the URL of the or the URL path of our image. So let's do a code. Then inside the images we have the banner dot jpg. Okay, so let's try that. Okay, so as you can see, the banner did not show up. That is because there is no height that we have specified. Let's say 150 pixels. There you go. Um, uh, I forgot the property background. I think background size. Oh, there you go. Cover. Let's do that. Oh no. Contain. No. 100%. I forgot the how to. I'm okay. So just gonna set that later. So for now, the background, um, we can, as I've said earlier, we can add one or more values. So one of those value is the path or the URL path of an image. Next is the position. So for the positions, you can there are two values for that position. So it's top, left, center. So let's try center. Okay, there you go. So meaning that the image will appear, or the background will appear, or will start displaying at the center. So let's try to add more height. Okay, I think that looks fine. So it looks like she's picking. So I think there's a bit of a meaning in our design here. So I think that's pretty good. All right. Then next is what we need to do is to as you can see, we have 4 columns here. So those are our 4 columns. So again, we need to specify the parent. So that hero, and the child is the column 4. Or maybe it will be nice to just set it as columns, just like that. Then columns, and then I'll specify the display. So that's flex, and then the justify content is evenly, space evenly. Refresh that. So as you can see here, it did separate them. As you can see, all of our texts are in a column. But what it looks like here is that it's a bit sticking to the other sections. So how about we add the hero a margin at the bottom. So margin bottom to 10 pixels. Oh no, sorry, not hero, since it is the parent, so it should be banner. I'm sorry, so banner. There's a bit of space there. So hero, then we have the banner. So maybe let's add a little bit more. There you go. So it will kind of look neat. And also for our columns, let's add a padding. Say 10 pixels. Alright, so no. Let's remove space evenly since it doesn't take effect. 20. Okay, there you have it. I think we are seeing some progress. So now, okay, so just gonna use justify content and space between. There you go. So instead of padding, there you go. No, still doesn't. So about padding again, 10 pixels. Okay, how about space around? Space around. Let's do that. Okay, so let's set the padding to the paragraph instead. So it seems that it doesn't taking effect. So hero dot columns, then paragraph, and we're going to add a padding. There you go. Then we are seeing progress here. So there's a space in between our columns, so at least it's a bit readable. So before we proceed, I think I don't like the font style here, so maybe I'll just set the font style for our elements to be have the font family. Let's say Arial. Alright, okay, so I like the font style here, so I set it into Arial. Alright, I think we're doing good here, doing huge progress here. So slowly it's transforming into the wireframe that you have designed, so that's good. Okay, not you for now, not you. Okay, so next is our newsletter. So our newsletter here, we have either forms. Okay, so let's set the newsletter. Then let's do the display into flex, and as you can see here, it's centered. So the justify content is centered. All right, so let's refresh. Okay, I think I don't see uh, anything here, especially on our forms. That is because we set the border into 0. All right, so don't worry about that. So let's focus on the let's focus on the all right, so how about we set the as you can see here, there is a huge space here. So how about we set the width for both sign up form and sign up text to the same, just like that. Oops. Okay, so let's set the width to let's say 40%. Oh no, 30% each. So the sign up form and then the sign up text. Refresh that. Let's try to add a border so that we'll know, or we can visually identify their location. Solid red. All right. Okay, how about a padding? Say 10 pixels. Okay, I think that's good. That's good. So next is we'll have to work on the each of the fields here. So the the inputs that we have here, it doesn't seem to be visibly available. So with that, the sign up form and then the inputs will have the border, let's say 1 pixel, solid, and then gray. So this will look like gray. Okay, let's try that. There you go. There you go. And let's add a padding. Padding. Hold on. Okay, so let's add a padding to have at least a space. As you can see, it's doesn't look good if it doesn't have a space around. Let's say 5 pixels. All right, and let's add a margin so that they they won't stick together. So margin bottom 5 pixels. There you go. Alright, and let's remove the border. Oops, sorry, not that. It's in the, oops, in the sign up text and sign up form. There you go. Alright, how about we add some text here above our sign up form? How about H2, sign up now, just like that. Not H2, it's a bit big, H3. But again, you can adjust it using the font size property. All right. Okay. So for the button here, we can change the text here by using the value property. So instead of submit, register um, today. All right. All right. All right. So far, so good. So far, so good. And lastly, we have here our sitemaps. Okay, so for our sitemaps, 3 columns. So that means we are going to set the flex for our sitemap. So that sitemap, let's set the display to flex, and the justify content. Oh no, it doesn't have justify content, since in our wireframe it's aligned to the left. So let's try that. Save and refresh. Okay, but it we do have these bullets, and they are kind of like sticking together. So let's add a space between them. Um, so for each section, we're going to add a space between them. So that means all of the section of the sitemap. So that sitemap, then section. Let's add a margin. Margin, no. Yeah, let's put a space, 10 pixels, and on the left, let's say, on the left and right, let's say 15 pixels. Not quite good. Let's maybe 35. Okay, okay, that's fine. That's fine. And let's make this. Um, hold on. In our wireframe here, we did not specify the link of an underline, so let's remove them. So let's remove the underlines for each of the link in our sitemap. So we can directly do sitemap. Under our sitemap, let's say all of the links. So regardless of the parent of the link here, since as you can see the parent of the link here is ally, so we don't need to specify the parent. Let's just directly tell the browser that all of the links under the sitemap element. So let's remove the underline. Then text decoration is none. So that will remove the underline for the links. There you go. I think we need some space, a bit of a space here in our newsletter. So how about margin top 20 pixels, and also bottom. So margin bottom 20 pixels. There you go. Okay. And lastly, let's remove the border in our wrapper. There you go. Um, it doesn't really, or honestly, it doesn't look a bit professional, but at least it's a start, right? So later on, we can add some functionality here and more designs. But again, um, it depends again on your progress. I If you do not practice more on how to lay out your website, then that's on you. So I think I trust you that you work more on this or practice more, so that at least you'll get familiar with how CSS and HTML works, or how do you behave, something like that. And it won't take long for you to be an expert on HTML and CSS. So I think I will just gonna end here. I'm just gonna submit the HTML and the CSS code, so that you'll have your own reference. But on the following lessons, we'll have another wireframe to HTML and CSS uh, topic. Okay. So for your activity, all of those wireframes that you have made on the previous activity, you will have to convert it to an HTML and I mean a working HTML and CSS document. Okay, so that's it for now. I'll just gonna so see you on the next recording or in next class. Thank you.